KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this commercial right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935, or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Do you have any questions about legal issues? Have you ever been stopped by a police officer and issued a ticket that you're scared to deal with? Have you ever been in trouble with the law and don't know what to do? Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305. It's that simple. You will have access to high-quality law firms that will fight for you for less than $1 a day. Peace of mind is just a call away. That's for Legal Shield. Call 213-245-1305 or visit us at nocourt.us. It's justice for all and not justice for some. So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now. Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you with startup capital, business strategy, sales and marketing, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, you may visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's ABTRUSTCO.com or call them at 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away. Do you have any questions about legal issues? Have you ever been stopped by a police officer and issued a ticket that you're scared to deal with? Have you ever been in trouble with the law and don't know what to do? Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305. It's that simple. You will have access to high-quality law firms that will fight for you for less than $1 a day. Peace of mind is just a call away. That's for Legal Shield. Call 213-245-1305 or visit us at nocourt.us. It's justice for all and not justice for some. So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1305. 1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now.
Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you start up with capital, business strategy, sales, and marketing, and establish your company with a physical location or an online presence on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea. Then American Business Trust can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's abtrustco.com. Or call them at 657-600-1876. That's American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They'll help your business right away. That's American Business Trust Company. Online at abtrustco.com. American Business Trust Company.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. Today's show is brought to you by Place Your Bet. If you like to bet on sports games in the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, the NFL, and NCAA basketball, football, who knows, maybe even lacrosse and golf, and you're looking for a bettor's edge, a real bettor's edge on the casino sportsbook, call Place Your Bet right now at 702-799-9935 and subscribe. Place Your Bet uses money movement to determine its picks, just like the casino odds makers. In fact, they're the guys the casino don't want you to know about. Call Place Your Bet right now, 702-799-9935, 702-799-9935. Call them right now and subscribe, or visit them online at placeyourbet.vegas. Get winners and cash tickets today with Place Your Bet. And a big welcome to everybody listening in on iHeartRadio and our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. Mike, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I had a...
You're really faint. Sounds like you're standing in a hole. Turn your volume up a little bit.
How about now?
That's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. This way the audience can hear you too. Hey, man, so have you been paying attention to the Vince Carter going to play for his 22nd team and that kind of thing? What do you think about that?
I did read into it, and I think it's great. I think it's great for the league. I think it's great for the younger guys. You know, they get to see the vet teach them the ways when they're on the road and, you know, how to budget their spendings or, you know, he's a great guy. He seems like a great guy.
Well, he seems to project well. You know, this isn't a brand new story, but for me, I look at a guy like Vince Carter and I say, you know, in a timeless type of career, when you've really played for a whole bunch of teams, but you've been around for, you know, let's face it, it's his 22nd season. I love the fact that he's actually out there doing it. Yeah, he's bounced around a little bit, but he could be very productive still. And there are some clubs out there that actually could use him, and I'm surprised he really didn't get anything else besides the Atlanta Hawks. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. I mean, he's a very proven, consistent shooter. But, I mean, now these days, everybody just wants, you know, the younger guy. They want the next up-and-coming Vince Carter.
Well, you know, it's funny that you mentioned that. I mean, we have a guest coming up, and that's 7'4" Mark Eaton. And, you know, Mark was a 4-time shot blocking champion, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. And this was a guy that, I mean, outside of his, you know, remarkable height, you wouldn't really think that he would have lasted as long as he would as well. But let me tell you, man, this guy was very good, very, very good. But then you look at him and say, okay, in a different position. So he's got that center position locked up. And, you know, you take a look at a guy like Vince Carter and you say, well, okay, different position. Yeah, 43-year-old, but the guy still has that outside shooting, mobility. and he's a positive forward, right? And so sure he can help the Trae Youngs of the world and the Cam Reddishes of the world. I think that's actually a pretty good fit.
Yeah.
But who else could have used Vince Carter's services for the cheap price? That's what I want to know.
Oh, Chicago. That's my first team that I probably, put out there. They're so young, just like Atlanta.
Okay, but what about from a contender standpoint? I had to rephrase that.
Okay,
from a contender standpoint, what contender could have used his services?
Let's see. Now LA signed Danny Green. Danny Green's a great shooter, great two-way player.
Right.
Golden State, I don't see that fit, especially with the offense. There's always cutting. You don't want Vince Carter.
Yeah, there's a bunch of small guys on Golden State anyway.
Right, yeah.
But let's go to a team that's kind of top heavy, and I'm talking about, at the 4 and 5 position.
4 and 5 position.
I mean, who's really big that needs kind of the swing man, right?
Right. I'm thinking.
And usually swingmen are sort of a high inventory item. There's a lot of inventory typically in the NBA, right? From that 6'5" to 6'8" kind of range, maybe 6'9". There's a lot of those guys out there.
I'm sure a bunch of teams honestly can, be looking for a Vince Carter, but like I said, they want the next young guy.
I would argue that the Toronto Sauruses could have used him.
The Raptors?
Yeah. I would argue that the Saurus.
That's interesting.
I'm telling you, they really need to change that name.
Interesting. Yeah.
They need to change the name to Tyrannosaurus. What a great name! I think that would be the best name in basketball and the best name in sports.
Yeah. You mean this upcoming season they can use him, right?
Sure, they could. I mean,
Okay.
look, there's a lot of clubs that can, but I think now with the departure of Kawhi Leonard, they
Right.
certainly could use a guy like him.
Right, and they no longer have Danny Green also.
Correct.
So
Green is gone.
That would be a great fit.
That's
yeah.
my point. I think that's a pretty good fit. Bouncing around the NBA, sure, Atlanta says we'll give you a home, but there are other clubs that can use him. And I guess that's my point in the whole thing. I mean, I would even argue that Indiana could use him. Maybe even Detroit could use him.
Right. We're not seriously thinking those teams are going to contend, though, right?
Well, listen, I think Detroit they're a playoff club, and I think Detroit is about to turn a corner. I always goof on Detroit, the
Yeah.
city of Detroit, but I think that the Pistons are a very interesting and fun and physical club. I think they could protect him physically speaking, and I think he's actually a pretty good fit over there too.
Oh, I'm sure anybody would take him.
Oh, this isn't about just taking him. This is about a team that is a playoff contender that could use a guy that has those kind of skills. I don't care about his age, but the guy can produce, and I actually think he could be a reasonable fit. Why are we talking about it? Because we can.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody else has kind of mentioned, well, previously, Vince Carter, this, that, and the other. But guess what? There are some teams that can contend, that can have space for a guy like him. And I'm only bringing it up because we're going to talk about basketball for the next couple, 3 segments here with Mark Eaton.
That's right.
But I also look at the fact that there are teams that need players like this. And I'm not talking rebuilding squads. I'm talking about a genuine role player. Think about how Grant Hill kind of bounced around. Jefferson bounced around. Billups bounced around a little bit. Think about those guys.
Yeah, another team would be the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
They don't sign these knuckleheads. They sign these guys that are what they call over themselves. And Vince Carter is, I would consider him one of those guys, a guy that's a team player and is going to do what is needed to help this team win. And like I said, he can still shoot consistently outside. He's still somewhat athletic for his age.
Somewhat. This guy's very athletic. I don't think athleticism is a problem here whatsoever. I mean, I don't care about his age. Again, I mean, look, this is a guy that can't produce. And what about the Portland Trailblazers?
Okay, now we're talking, yes. With C.J. McCollum, Lillard,
Right. What about a team like that? I think there's some real value. And it could be that a lot of the league executives said, you know what, this guy's old and he's just looking for a victory lap and that retirement tour. I don't really think that's what he's looking for. I think he really wants to participate. And I think he wants to be productive. And I tell you what, if he's productive this year, don't be surprised if this guy didn't stick around for yet another year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm struggling at the fact that he wants to play in Atlanta and not title chase anywhere else.
Right. And see, for me, that's what kind of makes me just, scratch my head and say, I don't really get it. But then again, it's not for me to get, but this is about the better fit. And I think if this guy really wants to play a little harder, maybe a place like Portland could have been a better choice. Who knows, folks? Anyway, we're going to be back here with 7'4" Mark Eaton in just a few minutes on the Sports Circus. Don't go anywhere.
I'm Andy Solomon. Through their second Changemaker Challenge, T-Mobile and the T-Mobile Foundation are seeking young visionaries who have big ideas. I'm here with Janice Kapner, EVP of Communications at T-Mobile.
T-Mobile is all about challenging the status quo. That's why we love our Changemaker Challenge. We want to support and motivate young people in the sweet spot of ages 13 to 23 who hope to make their communities even better.
T-Mobile is partnering with nonprofit Ashoka to select 30 winning teams with projects focused on technology, the environment, or education that will get up to $10,000 in seed funding and a trip to T-Mobile headquarters.
The Changemaker Challenge is all about giving the next generation a powerful platform to kickstart their projects for change. We can't wait to see what ideas they'll bring.
Do you have bold ideas to make the world a better place? Go to T-Mobile.com/changemaker to join the challenge.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this commercial right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935. Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Here is today's top automotive tech story. I'm Nick Miles. Infiniti is taking cues from NASA with their advanced zero-gravity seats that are featured on the new QX50 luxury midsize crossover and Q60 sports coupe. Drivers and passengers can enjoy more comfortable drives, long or short, says Mike Colleran. By helping to reduce physical fatigue, occupants can arrive at their destination refreshed, having completed their own everyday moon landing with each journey. For more automotive tech news, go to testmiles.com.
Hop into the all-new greater-than-ever Corolla, now with a redesigned sporty exterior. The Toyota Safety Sense 2.0 comes standard with advanced tech safety features, bringing peace of mind to every drive. Go to toyota.com/testmiles for details.
You're listening to Global American Broadcasting, the Gab Radio Network. For more info on our programs and services, including technical operations and syndication, please visit gabradionetwork.com.
Back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. This segment is brought to you by Legal Shield, providing legal protection and peace of mind for less than $1 a day. Legal Shield can help with traffic tickets, texting and driving, DUIs, court appearances, estate planning, contracts given to you that you don't understand, or maybe you got your shot blocked by a 7'4" monster. It bounced you in the head. You need a lawyer. Call Legal Shield. They can help. 213-245-1305. Call them right now for legal help for less than $1 a day. 213-245-1305, or visit them online at nocourt.us and tell them the circus sent you. And a big welcome to everybody listening in on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. We have a very special guest. Let's let him introduce himself.
Hey, Sal, this is Mark Eaton from the Utah Jazz, 12-year NBA veteran, all-star, and a couple Defensive Player of the Year awards, and here we are to visit with you.
All right. A couple of those Defensive Player of the Year. Got a handful of the shot-blocking titles as well. I think 4 of them. Is that not correct?
I think that's the correct number. I can't say I've looked lately, so I don't recall exactly how many times. But
right.
That sounds about right.
That sounds about right. And you know what else sounds about right? It sounds like you had probably better numbers than Kareem, I would say.
In one category, yeah.
Hey, listen, man, you had better numbers than Kareem. That's the only thing that matters.
Okay, I'm going with it.
That's right. Just go with it, right? You know how when that goes. But, well, welcome to the show, man. It's been, listen, we've had a lot of good basketball players on here, but we've never had somebody of your size and your skill. That's for sure.
Well, thank you.
Sure thing. But you're also...
You don't have too many 7'4" show guests? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think you're the first one.
I
can
find you some more.
Well, good. Bring them on in. Let me ask you a question. Look, a lot of people ask you about the rise from community college and so forth, and you already had done something prior to joining getting into the community college over at Cypress College. By the way, folks, we both went to Cypress College for a certain amount of time. So, Mark,
yes. So what was the question?
So it was about you attended an institute down in the greater Phoenix market.
Oh, yeah. Arizona Automotive Institute.
Right. So you already had a skill going into school, which is very cool because a lot of people these days, Mark, I got to tell you, there's a lot of unskilled labor out there today, and we have needs across the country for contractors and mechanics and HVAC guys and whatever. We don't have, and ladies, we don't have that anymore. And the workforce is really lacking that. So you were a guy that already went into college with an excellent trade.
I did, and it was kind of nice to have a backup because going back to junior college and trying basketball again at age 21 was a bit of a risk for me, and I always felt comfortable that I had my toolbox in my garage. And as silly as that sounds, I always thought to myself, well, if basketball doesn't work out, I can still go back to working on cars.
Right. And I certainly know about the area that you are at. In fact, my brothers had a mechanic shop in that greater Anaheim, Buena Park area for a long time. And there's plenty of business out there, so you can make a very healthy living with that. I think that's a hell of a plan. So as you moved on through, I mean, you obviously went to Cypress College, but when you went to UCLA, tell everybody about what happened with Wilt Chamberlain.
Sure. Well, I had 2 good years in junior college at Cypress, and then, now it was time to decide where to go to the big school. And growing up in Southern California, of course, UCLA was the big deal in the 70s, and in the early 80s, I thought, I'd really kick myself if I went somewhere else and didn't give UCLA a shot. And it was a bit of a risk because they'd just come off a trip to the national championship against Louisville with Larry Brown, and so they kind of had their little system, what they were doing, and I can't say I fit into that very well my junior year. And it was a pretty frustrating experience because I had done well in junior college and was really looking forward to kind of taking it to the next level. But anyway, during the summertime, I was pretty frustrated, and I thought, well, I'm just going to go to the gym, I'm going to work, and I'm going to see if I can get better for my senior year. And every afternoon, so I go to the gym in the mornings and do hook shots and free throws and go to the weight room, things like that. And in the afternoon, they had these pickup games at the men's gym at UCLA. And I mean, these were like, NBA All-Star games. I mean, Magic was there, and guy Norm Nixon, who played point guard for the Lakers. And there were a lot of great players in Los Angeles that came home for the summer, and they'd all hoop every day at the men's gym. So I'm out there running around, and I'm this big guy, 7'4", trying to chase these little guards. And of course, the speed of the game has picked up considerably from junior college when you started showing up at the men's gym. And I just can't catch anybody. And I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to chase little guards up and down the floor. And it was pretty frustrating. And so one afternoon, I'm doing that, and I'm pretty frustrated and stand on the sidelines for a minute, kind of taking a break, and actually kind of feeling really sorry for myself because I'm like, man, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can play at this level.
Right.
And then I feel this big, giant hand lay on my shoulder, and I turn around, and it was Wilt Chamberlain. Well, Wilt had retired from the NBA a few years earlier, but he would still come down from his house up in Bel Air and come down to UCLA to the campus and hang out and hoop with everybody, and he could still play quite well even after retiring, and then he'd leave the gym and go down to play volleyball at the beach after that. So he grabs me and he looks me right. He said, young fella, he goes like, what are you doing? He goes, why are you chasing these little guards up and down the floor? He goes, come here, let me show you what your job is. And he took me out on the court and he put me right in front of the basket and he placed me there and he said, you see this basket behind you? He said, your job is to stop players from getting there. Your job is to make them miss their shot, collect the rebound, throw it up to the guard, let them go down the other end and score it, and your job is to cruise up to half court and see what's going on.
Right.
And I chuckle about that now, but it was this light bulb experience for me where I was like, oh my gosh, like that's something I could do. And in that moment, kind of everything changed. It was like I understood what I could do well out on the basketball court, and I completely shifted my focus from trying to do everything and dribble the ball and shoot jumpers and all this stuff to focusing on playing defense. And that little 5-minute conversation turned into a 12-year NBA career because I listened to what, Will Chamberlain says something to you, probably should listen.
Sure.
And defense became my forte. It was something I was able to make a name for myself very quickly when I got in the NBA. And it was, it took somebody like that to come alongside me and who understood big guys and said, hey, stop doing all this other stuff. Like, you're no good at it anyway. Here's something you can really help your team with. And, I helped my team for a long time.
Right. Well, the good news is you already had your toolbox from the tools, but you really had the toolbox as a basketball player. You just didn't really know how to use those tools yet, right?
No, I didn't, because, each time you advance in sports, whether it's, from high school to college or college to the pros, I mean, everything changes. I mean, the game's faster. In college, you're playing against the best players you played against in high school or junior college. You get to the NBA, you're playing against the best of the best that you played against in college, along with guys who are, veterans who've been in the league for 10 or 12 years. And you just don't know what you need to do. You're just trying to do everything. You're like, I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do there. You're trying to learn and play and work out and get stronger and get faster all at the same time. And that conversation with Wilt completely took all the mystery out of what I was supposed to do. It's like, no, this is your job right here. Do this, and you'll be fine. And he was correct.
So out of all the guys that are playing in today's time, look, we don't really see a lot of real, true center shot blockers. We don't really see a lot of that these days. Now we could possibly see 5 guards out on the floor, right? I think we've seen it a few times in the last handful of years. But
yeah.
What about that position that makes it basically required to really win? I mean, look, there are some teams that have maybe one or two, big power forwards or something. But how about the real center kind of losing its position out on the floor? I mean, to me, it's kind of like seeing the I formation go away in football. It's just not natural to me.
No, and it's difficult for me at times, but I understand some of it because of analytics and the fact that the players, in my era of the 80s and early 90s, if you shot 35% from the three-point line, you were doing great. And now the three-point line is a much bigger part of the game where guys are shooting 42, 45, 47% from the three-point line, and offenses have adjusted accordingly over time. And the players started looking, or the coaches started looking for more of, Dirk Nowitzki kind of players who could bring the ball up the floor and shoot outside, and they weren't as concerned about defense. But in my mind, still, once you get to the playoffs and in the tight games, you've got to defend the paint, and you've got to have that guy down there. And I think it hurts some teams when it gets to playoff time. But yeah, we don't see the kind of the big, hulking centers that were very common in my era in the 80s, when you had guys like Artis and Patrick and Kareem, et cetera, that kind of commanded that big presence in the paint. So it's just been kind of a shift, and I'm hoping it'll shift back around because I think sometimes they get a little too carried away with the analytics and forget that it's still a game of basketball.
Right. The analytics, I mean, here in the last, 45 seconds of the segment, Mark, the analytics, in my opinion, whether it's baseball or basketball or hockey or football or whatever, I think sometimes the numbers are skewing what we're actually seeing on the court. And frankly, in basketball, hey, you want to go ahead and keep shooting those threes. Guess what? Let's move that line back a little bit, or better yet, let's use the half-court line as a 4-point shot. Let's do something really radical, and let's make the audience really think, and let's try to skew those numbers in the other direction so we get some balance and say, hey, we need a big centerman. Back here with Mark Eaton, 4-time shot blocking champion from the NBA, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Back here in a few minutes on The Circus. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come.
Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you start up with capital, business strategy, sales, and marketing, and establish your company with a physical location or an online presence on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea. Then American Business Trust can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's abtrustco.com. Or call them at 657-600-1876. That's American Business Trust Company. 657-600-1876. Call them today. They'll help your business right away. That's American Business Trust Company. Online at abtrustco.com. American Business Trust Company. Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you start up with capital, business strategy, sales, and marketing, and establish your company with a physical location or an online presence on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea. Then American Business Trust can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's abtrustco.com. Or call them at 657-600-1876. That's American Business Trust Company. 657-600-1876. Call them today. They'll help your business right away. That's American Business Trust Company. Online at abtrustco.com. American Business Trust Company.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Sue McCarthy.
And we're the hosts of the Travel Planners Show.
Join us every week for 2 hours of travel fun and information.
Family travel.
Business travel.
Day trips.
One-tank trips.
Luxury travel and dining.
Deals and steals.
Tips and tricks.
Travel news.
We've got it all.
And we invite you to be a part of the show. Call in and ask a question or share your travel experience with our listeners and us.
Join us for the Travel Planners Show on the Global American Broadcasting Network.
On News for You, we give you something else that you are not getting in the normal newscasts on radio. It's all left, right, the name or the letters of the company. You know what you're going to get. Not from me. I get flack from everybody because I call them like I see them, a moderate American. It's the most dangerous place you can be right now. All of your friends are going to be angry with you because you're not one side or the other. Well, on News for You, stuff that's not quite so political. Plenty of fun stuff. Maybe give you a smile, but when we need to, we will weigh in. News for You, sales.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. This segment is brought to you by Cali Vegas, helping people just like you create and host your very own radio, TV, or multimedia talk show. Cali Vegas can help you with everything you need to get out of sitting in traffic like you're doing right now, every day, damn near, and host your very own talk show in your very own studio. Call Cali Vegas at 949-445-1119. That's 949-445-1119. Or visit them at calivegas.com. That's CALI Vegas.com. And tell them the circus sent you. And welcome back to everybody listening in on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates. From Honolulu on the New York Yankees radio network all the way up to New York on the New York Yankees radio network, and a bunch of points in between: Chicago, L.A., Vegas, Southern Alabama, Missouri, Florida. We're all over the place, folks. And, folks, we are here with Mark Eaton, 4-time shot blocking champion, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, All-Star center from the Utah Jazz. Mark, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, it's great to be on the show today, Sal.
Hey, listen, in the last segment we were talking about analytics. I want you to finish up that dialogue, would you?
Well, we were talking about the analytics and how teams kind of get carried away with a little bit, and I was visiting with one of the executives from the Utah Jazz the other day at lunch, and we were talking about the new term in analytics is load management. So documenting how many minutes you're playing, and then telling you from a analytics standpoint that you should probably take game number 6 off because you need to let your body rest. So the other night, which was just incredulous to us that played in the 80s and 90s, like we didn't take games off, that was just unheard of. So about a week ago, Carl Malone, the mailman, was in Salt Lake here, and he's got a new rum company, and he's got a cigar company.
Oh, excellent.
And he's was here in Salt Lake, and we did a little deal. I've got a restaurant here in Salt Lake called Tuscany. It's been open about 23 years, and we did a little deal out on the patio, rum and cigar tasting dinner, which was fabulous. And so I got him up there and asked him a couple of questions in front of the crowd, and one of the questions was about analytics, and he just about lost it over that one when I told him that you got to take every 5th or 6th game off because you got to let your body rest. And I think if for your fans, if you go back and look at games missed due to injury for both John Stockton and Karl Malone, even myself, we played every night. Like we didn't take games off. I mean, I think John, out of 18 years, missed 17 games or something like that, and the mailman wasn't far behind him in 19 seasons. And it's kind of a different era now with the analytics and the three-point shooting, everything else. But I don't know if it's a millennial thing or what it is, but it's hard sometimes to sit in the stands and watch some of the professional players play, and then to say, well, why isn't that guy playing tonight? Well, he's got a little injury, he's got this or that other thing, and somebody like myself or the mailman or something, we just kind of lose it when we like you're here, they're paying you, like get out there and play. But it's not always up to the player now. We've got all these extra layers of management with all their computers out that are making a lot of these decisions.
Okay, so sticking with that idea, look, the problem that I have with it is if you're a professional athlete, you are equipped to play every day, especially in basketball, for example, right? Just like what you're saying. You get your ass out there and you play because that's what you're being paid to do. Now, I would argue that today's player is being groomed to play through analytics, and because analytics is going to tell them when to play, not because it's going to change their desire, but that's what the money is telling them to do. And I would argue that it's too money-driven instead of athletic-driven today. Is that a fair assumption?
I would say yes, because, hey, I rest a few more games this year, I make another $30 million next year. So, I can see that to a certain extent, and I agree that culturally there's probably a lot of that goes on. It's just, I don't know, it's just for most old school guys, it's difficult to watch at times because every game's important. Getting positioning in the playoffs, getting home court advantage, all those kinds of things. You're playing for that all season long, and to me, it's always like I'm letting my teammates down if I'm not out there helping them, and I think it's frustrating for fans at times. Like, hey, this guy had 30 points last night. Like, why isn't he out there tonight? Well, we have to rest him because of analytics. Or, come on. So, I think sometimes they get carried a little too far with that stuff, and hopefully over time it'll come back because the basics of the game don't change, and you got to have your best guys out there in order to have the best chance to win.
Right. And, not too long ago, I had a conversation with Gary Payton about defense in the NBA versus today when you had played versus the game today. And, of course, Gary was obviously a tremendous defensive player, just like yourself and your squad. You had a stifling defensive squad in Utah. And so take your squad against your top offensive players and your teams today. And the officiating differences, that's kind of where I'm going with this. Do you believe the officials are purposely calling a softer game to drive the numbers because fans like scoring?
Yes, I think I believe so, and I'd be right in alignment with the glove that that's exactly what's happening, because we learned that every single year. Every time they'd make a rule change, when the NBA Board of Governors would meet, it would always be about scoring. It was never about defense. It was like, oh, we got to loosen this up. I got to loosen that. Like when I played and GP played, handshaking was a big deal. You're guiding players defensively where you wanted them to go, and now you can't hardly touch anybody. And I met opposing centers at the free throw line because I wanted to bump them all the way down to low post. I wanted them to be 2 or 3 feet further out from where they like to set up. Maybe they missed 2 or 3 more shots because of that. When you're playing against Kareem one night, Akeem the next night, and Patrick Ewing the day after that, that was an important thing. It's and I understand it. That's what people want to see. But for those that played the game, or people that really understand and appreciate all the nuances of the game, I think it leaves something out that's an important part of the game of basketball.
Right, folks, we're here with Mark Eaton, All-Star Center from the Utah Jazz, shot blocking master. And when we talk about big defensive bodies, in the last 25 years, we think of a handful of guys, of course. And, of course, Shaq always comes up in this. And it's funny because you take a guy like Shaquille O'Neal, and he was bumped and hammered, bumped and hammered, hammered and bumped. But at the same time, he certainly doled it out, too. But he's kind of like the last of the big centers that are out there, really. Is this something that we need to get back into the game?
I think so. I think it's an important missing link, but as long as we're all focused on the three-point line, I don't know that it's going to happen. I think something else has to shift in the game. And I think the other thing, too, that's happened is just the influx of players from other countries who grew up playing the game differently, that were more pass and cut and shoot kind of guys and not jam it down the middle kind of players. I think that's had an impact on the game as well. The combination of those things and the worldwide audience that the NBA has, I think that's what people want to see, and the game is adapted appropriately, whether we like it or not. You can't argue with the health of the NBA, the breadth and width of their market around the world, and the place they're in right now. I don't think anybody's doing it better in professional sports.
Right. Good. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, so Mark, I have a question, and I'm also assuming you keep up with the Jazz to this day. Is that so, or you just keep up with the league entirely?
No, I keep up with the Jazz more so than the rest of the league. I can't tell you who's on the rest of the teams.
Right.
But I do follow the Jazz pretty closely.
Awesome. So given the shakeup and how, the league is all star-driven with, at least, somewhat of 2 all-stars on each team now, how do you think the Jazz are going to, fare in the West next year with the additions of Mike Conley, Bogdanovich, to what they already had with, Rudy Gobert and Joe Ingles and so?
Yeah, well, and Donovan Mitchell, I think that the Jazz are very close to. Yeah, don't forget that guy. I think they're very close to contending for the Western Conference, and obviously some other teams in the West made a lot of big moves this year as well. But getting Mike Conley, and the Jazz gave up 8 players from last year's roster. That's how big they went with the personnel moves, which is pretty out there for the Jazz. They're usually more conservative when it comes to that stuff, but bringing in Mike Conley, 12-year veteran from the Grizzlies, is, I think, something the Jazz have been looking for a good point guard for a few years. Donovan Mitchell has performed admirably in that role, but that's not his natural position. And Dante Exum, who's shown a lot of promise, has had a lot of injury issues. Ricky Rubio was helpful and a good guy and a great community member, but just couldn't quite get it done either from a point guard perspective. And the Jazz gave up a lot of guys to get Mike Conley, but I think it gives us a real bona fide point guard that can get out there and get the ball where it needs to go. He's a great scorer as well, and I'm pretty excited about that, along with the guy they picked up from the Pacers, Bogdanovic.
That guy can flat out shoot it.
He can shoot it.
Yeah.
And they've got a couple of other guys. There are a couple more big guys that are more bangers, which I think helps because we lost Derek Favors. And the one thing the Jazz, kind of going back to that five-man conversation, the Jazz have kind of been missing the last few years as a banger and a guy who can, who can bang the boards a little bit and maybe score a little bit. And so some of these other guys that they've brought in, like Ed Davis and a couple other Jeff Green, a couple of
I
guys
do like
that have
the
been around
addition
the
of
league
Jeff
for
Green.
a long time.
I do like that
What's
addition.
that?
I do like Jeff Green's addition to the team because he's a little versatile. He can do it all.
Yeah, and so they're veterans. They've been around the league. I think they'll help the young guys quite a bit, and so it's going to be really interesting to see how the chemistry comes together once they get rolling out of training camp.
All right, folks, we're going to be back here in just a few minutes with Mark Eaton. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come.
It's a staggering statistic. 1 in 8 women will develop invasive breast cancer during her life. New technology has revolutionized breast cancer treatment, giving women more treatment options than ever before. Dr. Charlotte Gale Patterson, breast surgeon.
Many women choose to have breast-conserving surgery, also known as a lumpectomy, but this can impact the cosmetic appearance of the breast. Newer oncoplastic surgery techniques minimize dimpling or other cosmetic changes to a woman's breast, helping her to look and feel like herself.
A new medical device called BioZorb helps minimize dimpling of the breast after doctors remove the cancerous lump, maintaining the natural shape of the breast.
BioZorb also helps with radiation targeting. Think of it as a GPS for breast cancer, helping radiation oncologists better target treatments to minimize the impact on the surrounding healthy tissue. It's also important for follow-up mammograms because the marker can help identify the site of the previous cancer, aiding with future imaging or medical procedures.
For more information, visit mybiozorb.com.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this commercial right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935. Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bob Marshall, PhD. If you've ever had questions about your health, listen to Healthline Live now online at qnlabs.com every Monday through Saturday. I'll take your nutrition questions live during show hours and guide you the best I can on your path to great health. The key to great health is nutrition, and unfortunately, our food sources are not even close to what they used to be. Go to qnlabs.com and join me to learn about quantum nutrition. Ask your questions and get real answers. I'll give you the truth so you're empowered to make excellent nutrition and lifestyle choices. Remember, each day's show streams 24 hours until the next show, so you can listen at your convenience, from anywhere, anytime. If you miss a show, you can still find it archived on the website. So take advantage of this great opportunity to educate yourself and your family. That's Healthline Live every Monday through Saturday on qnlabs.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. Folks, make sure you follow us on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. On Instagram, we are TSC Show. On Facebook, we are The Sports Circus. And, of course, on Twitter, we are at The Sports Circus as well. Make sure you check out thesportscircus.com. Also, we have a lot of upcoming guests, prior guests. Check out our podcast. Pick up some swag. All kinds of cool stuff. And some great partners and some great charities that we work with, too. And remember, folks, you're not going to be there by yourself because almost 4 million people a month are hitting thesportscircus.com and they're streaming the show, and they're doing all that other fun stuff, too. So, hey, and by the way, tomorrow, be sure to tune in. We have Brett Saberhagen from the Kansas City Royals, two-time Cy Young Award winner. He's going to be with us. But right now, we're here with Mark Eaton, four-time shot blocking champion, two-time Defensive Player of the Year, All-Star center from the Utah Jazz. Welcome back, Mark.
Thanks. Great to be back with you.
Okay, so Mark is in the restaurant business. I want to hear a little bit more about that. You did mention that earlier, and you're also a speaker. I want to hear about that afterwards.
Sure. So when I retired from basketball in '94, got involved with a guy who owned some restaurants in San Francisco, and we opened up a place here in Salt Lake City called Tuscany, Northern Italian restaurant. I've been in that business for 23 years. Opened a few others over time. I'm 2 for 4 in that crazy business.
Hey, that's 500.
Tuscany, we have it's 500, yeah, better than a lot of three-point shooters. And so we've been doing that for 23 years, and it's a crazy business, but it's fun, and I love watching people have a great time and enjoying their meals. And so we do Northern Italian rustic food at one place, and more presentation, sauce-oriented food at the other. And so that's what I do. It's kind of my part-time job. And then the last 10 years, I've been doing motivational speaking for companies around the nation. And I do a program called The 4 Commitments of a Winning Team. Wrote a book, same title. And I speak about 50 or 60 times around the country to a wide variety of organizations, and sales teams, insurance, and safety, and a lot of other things in between. So it's really my passion. So I love doing, and it's also given me the opportunity to get out and really see how the nation works and the inner workings of a lot of businesses, manufacturing, and oil and gas, and everything else. So it's really been quite fun.
Well, you're a very good speaker. Of course, you did a lot of television work as well, right?
Yeah, I did. When I retired, I worked for the Jazz for about 8 years doing that kind of pregame, postgame, halftime show, that kind of stuff. And I did it primarily to hang out with my old coach, Frank Layden, because he was doing it, and I just loved hanging out with him. He was always telling jokes. And then he left, and Thurl Bailey joined with me, and I was with him for quite a few years. So I had a good time doing that. And then about 10 years ago, I was like, all right, enough of that, time to do something new. And because of this crazy story of going from an auto mechanic to an NBA player, people would always ask me to come and tell my story. And I decided, wow, what would it be like if I put that story into a presentation that would benefit business somehow? And so I spent about 3 years trying to figure that out, and eventually found a coach who helped me write a great presentation, and I've been doing it for most of the last 10 years now, and people get a lot out of it. So it's teamwork from the inside out, and getting rid of internal competition in your organization, and really helping people understand team from the highest level.
Now, you told me something earlier today, this was offline, and it was about mountain biking and 36-inch tires for your mountain bike. That's really cool stuff. Tell everybody about that. It's cool, man.
Sure. So we have a group of retired guys. It's called Legends of Basketball, and we get together in Vegas every August. And I was down there, and I met this guy who's about 6'10", French guy that lives in Sacramento, and he's building these bikes with 36-inch tires. They're called Dirty Sixers because he's French. You can't say 36, so he says Dirty Sixers. And so I'd had bikes when I was a player because I live in the mountains outside of Salt Lake City, and I love to mountain bike. And that's why I stayed in shape in the summer. But you could make the frame bigger, but you could never get the bike higher up off the ground to make the cranks longer, et cetera, because of the wheel size. Because back then it was all 26-inch wheels.
Right.
So I don't know where he found these wheels and tires or who he's got making them, but he created a bike with 36-inch wheels. And so I'm in one of the convention centers in Vegas. We're having a meeting, and I get on that thing, and I'm like whipping around the halls on it. And I said, man, I got to get one of these things. So the next winter I ordered one, and he made it for me. And, boy, I'll tell you, it's been a lifesaver because once you retire from sports, you can't run anymore. You really can't hoop anymore. You have to find other things to take care of your body, especially cardio-wise. And being a big guy and being very mindful of guys like Moses Malone and Daryl Dawkins, who unfortunately we've lost in the last few years due to heart issues, like you pay close attention to that stuff. And so it's given me kind of new life from a cardio perspective to get out there and ride. So I ride every morning. There's a coffee shop about 5 miles away that I ride to, then I ride back, and then a lot of times my buddies and I will take the loop through town and do about a 20-mile ride, just mostly on the flat stuff. I do a little bit of hills, but it's been a great blessing. And so if you're a big guy over 6'3", he makes 32-inch wheels now and 36. So anybody from 6'3" on up to 7'4", check out Dirty Sixer Bicycles online or on Instagram. And the guy's name is David Fulch, who's the creator of them. So Shaq's got one. Rudy Gobert just bought 16 of them for the entire Utah Jazz team. And
that's excellent.
I keep telling the guys, it's a pretty small niche, but go for it, man.
Right. That's cool, though. I mean, you don't hear a lot about that kind of thing because, the average person, look, I'm only 6'1", and so I could buy anything out there, but obviously that's a very special, it's kind of like the big and tall version for sports, too. You've got to have stuff that you could use because otherwise it's like you riding a tricycle.
Yeah, it is. It's not that much fun. And then after you're a retired athlete, things don't work quite as well as they did when you were 30. And so you got to have something that works with your body and that's something you can still enjoy and get out and get some fresh air. And so that's been the ticket. And I love my bike. I've just about worn out the tires already this summer. I got to go get some new ones here this week, but. I love riding that thing and give a lot of credit to David for creating them and having that vision of taking care of the big guys.
So, Mark, what's your favorite fishing spot?
Oh, man, favorite fishing spot. Well, I used to go to Alaska a lot, loved it up there, and then, about 10 or 15 years ago, some buddies of mine bought this lodge up in British Columbia. They go steelhead fishing. And with fly rods, and then eventually spay rods. And so that's been the most exciting for me because it's the most exhilarating and frustrating fishing I've ever done because these big steelhead will come in from the ocean, literally hundreds of miles upstream from the ocean, and lay behind these big rocks, and they're the size of your thigh. And when you hook one up, man, is it exciting. You only land about 25% of the ones you hook up, but it's exhilarating and standing in the mountains in the fall and have bears and moose walk by while you're out there in the river.
That's cool.
That's my favorite kind of fishing.
Well, you know who else does that? Rick Berry. He does charters for fly fishing and so forth, and he asked.
Yeah, in Colorado. Yeah, I know he does that.
Right. He was telling me about that, and he goes, "Look, I do it in Mexico, and I also do it up in Alaska as well. And I've never gone. I want to go. I haven't had the time to go, but." I've never gone fly fishing. I've always gone ocean fishing.
Well, and I grew up doing that, growing up in Southern California. I love ocean fishing as well, but there's just a kind of serenity about standing in a stream somewhere with your fly rod that makes the mountains pretty attractive, and so that's what I've always done. But you have to go to Alaska. It's the last great frontier out there, man. It's the wild, wild west up there, and trying to shoo away a grizzly bear while you're trying to land your salmon is always an exciting experience.
Yeah, I bet. Hey, listen, Mark, we're coming up on the end of the show here. Take about 30 seconds to tell everybody how to follow you and maybe pick up your book and so forth.
Yes, you can follow me on social media, Mark Eaton, spelled out, and then 7FT4 for 7'4", Instagram, Facebook, etc. And then you can pick up the book on Audible or on Amazon, The 4 Commitments of a Winning Team, and you can find more about me at 7foot4.com.
I like that, 7foot4.com. And so, by the way, I want to ask you in the last 30 seconds here, what's the most popular dish in Tuscany, the restaurant?
At the restaurant, we do a double-cut marinated pork chop that we soak in molasses brine for 3 days and start on the wood-burning grill and finish in the wood-burning oven on top of scallion mashed potatoes.
That sounds excellent. I know what I'm having when I come up there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Eaton. Mark, thanks for joining us today. Lots of fun. Always welcome back here on the circus.
My pleasure, Sal.
All right, that was Mark Eaton.
Great to be on the show.
Listen, man, bring your friends next time. Absolutely. The more the merrier. Thanks for joining us, Mark. And also, folks, make sure you join us tomorrow right here at your favorite station at this time. Until then, so long, everyone. Attention. Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this commercial right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935, or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.